Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vivek Kumar. In my last video lecture on finite element method, we have used direct method to solve 1D mechanical engineering problems. In this video lecture, we will be covering the basic step of using variational approach for solving the mechanical engineering problems. Then we will be applying the variational approach to specific examples relevant to mechanical engineering. Now let us discuss some of the characteristics of the properties of using the variational approach. The first one is that it is an approximate method, means it will provide an approximate solution of the field variable or engineering problem over the solution domain. The approximate solution provided by the variational approach will converges towards the exact solution of the problem. Second, it is based on the variational calculus, means we will be using various differential and integral operators to obtain the approximate solution of the field variable. So we can use the variational approach in engineering problems which are defined by some governing equation that can be partial differential equations or using the integral equations. If such equations are not present for any physical phenomena, we will not be able to use the variational approach. This is one of the limitations of using the variational approach. Now there are two ways to perform the finite element analysis using the variational approach. In the first approach, a trial function will be developed containing the field variable and its derivatives. The derivatives can be first order derivatives or the higher order derivatives. And this function now will be minimized over the solution domain by using the integral operators. So a number of the trial functions will be used in this situation, and the best solution, or we can say the best approximate solution, will be the one that will minimize the integral over the specified boundary of the solution domain. In the second approach, we will be using directly using the differential equations available with the physical phenomena. So in this method, differential equations governing the behavior of typically infinitesimal or the differential element over the domain of the problem along with the boundary condition will be used to obtain the approximate solution. First of all, let us discuss the basic theory of calculus of variation. Here the objective is to find a field variable for a particular or in a particular engineering or physical problem. So here the field variable is denoted by the phi. So a graph has been plotted over here. On the y-axis we are taking the field variable and on the x-axis we are taking the independent variable or x. Here the solid line denotes the exact solution. The exact solution can be obtained by the direct solution of the partial differential equation. If such solution do exist, then we will be able to obtain this solid line. Or the solid line can also represent the values of this field variable for different values of the x obtained using experimental approach. Now this an approximate solution is obtained by using the calculus of variation, and it is denoted by phi bar. So you can see there is significant deviation between this direct solution or exact solution and this finite element solution obtained by using the calculus of the variation. For a particular value of x, the difference between the value of the exact solution and the approximate solution is given as phi of x minus phi bar of x over the entire solution domain. As we keep on changing the value of the x, this particular error between the two solutions will keep on changing. So the tentative solution will be the best when this value is minimum over the domain of a particular problem. Now for a particular value of the x, we can write phi of x as a tentative solution, that is phi bar x plus del of phi of x, means the difference between these two solution for a particular value of the x. Here del is known as the variational operator. It is similar to the differential operators used in calculus of variation. So now we will define a function f, and this is a function of x, that is the independent variable, then the field variable, the first derivative of the field variable, higher order derivatives of the field variable. Here we are only confined to the second order derivative of the field variable. So in the short form, this function can be represented as f is a function of x, function of field variable, phi of x in the subscript. If it is used in the subscript, it means that the quantity phi will be the derivative of phi with respect to the independent variable. And if in the subscript we are writing double x, means it is a double derivative of field variable with respect to independent variable. Now a change in the value of this function can be represented as partial derivative of f with respect to x into del of x plus partial derivative of f with respect to field variable into del of field variable, partial derivative of f with respect to this phi of x into phi of x, and partial derivative of this f with respect to phi double x. So we will be getting this expression. Now we are calculating this expression for a particular value of the x, means the change in the value of the x means del x will be equal to 0. So this term will be reduced to this expression. Now this expression for del f will be integrated over the entire solution domain, that is between x1 to x2. So we will be putting del f as this expression. So it will, and then we will be equating it to 0, so that we will obtain the value of the field variable, which will minimize the problem. So as you can see that the integral consists of 3 terms. So the first term is very simple and we can left it as it is. So second term is a complex one. We need to further refine or simplify it. So we will be considering here only the second term. Second term defined as the derivative of f with respect to the first derivative of the field variable. So one of the important characteristic of the variational operator is that it can move inside and outside differential and integral operator without any change in the values of the functions. So it can be written as curl of phi by curl of phi x, and now we will be replacing the value of phi subscript as a first derivative of the field variable with respect to x. And as you can see that we have already stated that this del operator can move inside and outside the differential operators. So this will be the expression which we will be getting. Now del has been moved inside this derivative as del of phi. Now this expression can be solved by using integration by parts. So when we perform integration by part, the first term will be as it is, and then we will perform the integration of the second term over the solution domain, minus of integration retained. Now we will be performing the differentiation of the first term and we will be integrating the second term, and whole of the function will be integrating over the solution domain. So this will be the simplification of the second term. Similarly, we will be proceeding with the simplification of the third term. Here we will be having derivative of f with respect to double derivative of the field variable. Again we will be using the same approach. So del of phi double x can be represented as phi of phi x into del of phi x. Now we will be using integration by parts and we will be obtaining these terms. Okay, so this term is quite simple. We will retain it as it is in the next step and we will perform the integration by part of this term. So the final solution will be like this. Same term has been repeated over here. Now we will be performing the integration of the part. So we will be getting phi of x as phi, and the same term will be retained here. It will be its value will be provided over domain x2 x1, and then it will be the first term will be undergo double differentiation, and the second term will be integrated, and whole terms will be integrated over the domain x1 to x2. As of now, we have simplified the second and the third term in this integral. First term is already in its simplified form, and the second term has been derived in the previous slide as this expression, and the third term we have obtained like this expression. Now we will be combining second and third term, the values of the second and third term, into this differential, into this integral. So after putting these values into this equations, and we will be segregating the different terms. So the first segregation will be performed with respect to integral terms. So for the integral terms, we will be having this first term, curl phi by curl f by curl of phi. This will be from the first term. Then the second term will be coming from this curl of curl x divided into my curl of f into curl of phi x. And the third term will be coming from the third operator, this third equation. So these are the segregated terms for the integral term. For the terms which are defined over the x2 and x1, they are clubbed into two different terms. So this term will be coming directly over here, and this term will be clubbed together to define the value over x2 and x1. So one term has been left over, which is the derivative of f with respect to double derivative of the field variable. This is this term. So we will be getting delta I as this expression, and this will be minimized over the solution domain. So all these for any arbitrary value of the phi, all these terms will be vanishing individually. So I am using this condition as it is. I am not providing the proof of these assumptions due to complexity involved in describing the process. So all these three terms have been specified as, the first term has been specified as Euler or Euler-Lagrange equation. So this equation will give the value of the functional which will be used in the calculus of variation. The second term, when we equate it to 0, that is the term in the bracket, disregard these terms over here. So only we will be considering only the terms which are presented within the bracket. So this will give us the value of the natural or the free boundary condition. The natural or the free boundary conditions are the one which correspond to the derivative of the functional. And if we are not able to obtain the solution of this equation by using these two natural or the free boundary condition, then we need to specify the value of the change in the operator, change in the value of the field variable over x1 and x2. These are the additional condition which we need to impose to obtain the solution of this equation. These are known as the geometric or essential or force boundary conditions. So far in the calculus of variation approach, we have discussed the basic method to perform finite element analysis for 1D problems and for the problems which have only one field variable. If more than one field variable exists in the engineering problem, for example, in case of the fluid flow through the channels, we are having the field variable as temperature and the pressure. Then we need to modify the Euler-Lagrange equation. How we will be modifying these equations are presented over here. So in case of the field variable, we will be subscripting it by I. Here I stand from 1 to n, and it will denote the number of the field variables associated to a particular engineering problem. And if we want to represent the derivative of the field variables, then we'll be bracketing the phi I and providing a subscript as x. Now outside the bracket, this x will represent the first derivative of that particular field variable. If we represent double x, this means that particular field variable will be undergoing double derivative. So keeping I is equal to 1 to n, we will be getting n Euler-Lagrange equation for n number of the field variable. And in this case, I integral that has to be minimized over the fluid flow domain can be represented as f dx, where f will be the function of the x. We are discussing all these terms with 1D. Okay, so f will be represented as a function of independent variable, and then we have the different field variables. Now whatever is written in the subscript, that will denote the number of the field variable, and in the superscript it is used to define the derivative of the field variable. Hence here it has been depicted as phi 1 of 1 means for the field variable 1 its derivative is 1. Phi 1 of 2 means for the field variable 1 its derivative is 2, and so on. For the phi n, this is the first derivative and this is the second derivative. In case of generalized 3D case, here we are considering only one field variable, but its value will depend upon the x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate. In this case, f will be defined as a function of x, y and z, which are the independent variables. Then phi x, phi y, phi z, this will represent the derivative of field variable with respect to x, y and z, and these are the double derivatives. Okay, so now this function will be undergoing the differential operators and minimize over the volume, because we are considering now the 3D case. So, and it will be equated to 0. So this is how we will be obtain the change in the value of the f with respect to change in the value of the field variables and its derivatives along the x and y and z directions. Now let us summarize the various steps in the calculus of the variation. The basic purpose of performing the calculus of variation is to determine the extrema of a particular function. By extrema means the maxima or minima or the stationary, these are also known as the stationary values of the function. So the first step is to select a series of trial or tentative solution phi bar x. These are the tentative solution for the problem, and this solution will be expressed in the form of the functional f, and this functional will be integrated over the solution domain and will be equated to 0. Once we have done these operations, we will be getting the values of I. Now we will be comparing the I values of the I for the different or the series of the trial solution phi x we have applied in the calculus of the variation. The correct solution will be the one that will minimize the value of the functional I. So how to obtain the value of this functional? For this we will be using the Euler equation or the Euler-Lagrange equation. And these are the boundary conditions that we need to be incorporated to obtain the solution of this equation to obtain the functional. Okay, so if these conditions are natural or the free boundary conditions are not sufficient, then we will be imposing or forcing essential or forced boundary conditions over this integral to over this differential equation to obtain the value of the function. So the procedure is very simple. First we need to apply a different tentative solution, obtain the value of the f, minimize its value, and then we will need to select the tentative solution for which the value of the I will be minimum over the solution domain. So the trial function which will provide the minimum value of the I will be our final approximate solution of an engineering problem. Rayleigh rates is another method which is based on the solution of the equilibrium problems. The equilibrium problems are defined in terms of the partial differential equations of mechanical engineering problems. This is also used to perform the calculus of the variation approach in the finite element method. So here again we have I integral which is a function of the phi and its derivative, and it will be defined as the integration of the functional over the solution domain. Okay, so the solution to the engineering problem can be approximated as by using the trial solutions or the trial functions. Here the solution, tentative solution, is defined as a polynomial function having the coefficient ci and associated with the trial function fi of x. So here we need to find these values of the ci and the fix, which will provide the approximate solution of the engineering problems. And in the Rayleigh-Ritz method, actually fix are the trial functions, so we already know these functions. Only the thing that we do not know is the ci or the unknown parameters. The unknown parameters are obtained by differentiating these integrals with respect to ci. So if we are using any polynomial function of higher order, suppose n, so we will be differentiating this I integral with respect to n ci, c1, c2, c3. So this will yield n equation, and simultaneous solution of all these equations will provide the value of n unknowns, that is ci, c1, c2 up to cn. So in the next video lecture, we will be applying Rayleigh-Ritz method to 1D mechanical engineering problems to obtain the approximate solution of the field variables.